The Undertaker's streak at WrestleMania is widely considered one of the most iconic accomplishments in the history of professional wrestling. For 21 consecutive years, Mark Calaway, known to fans as The Undertaker, entered WWE's biggest event undefeated. The streak began at WrestleMania 7 in 1991 and remained intact until WrestleMania 30 in 2014. The Undertaker's undefeated record at WrestleMania became synonymous with the event itself, drawing attention to both his unmatched dominance and the mystique of the WWE's most celebrated annual spectacle. Today, we will explore how The Undertaker's streak grew to be one of the most significant stories in wrestling history, why it captivated millions, and how its unexpected end shocked the entire wrestling world. This is a Nerd History mini-doc. The Undertaker's first appearance at WrestleMania came in 1991 at WrestleMania 7, where he faced the legendary Jimmy Superfly Snuka. At the time, The Undertaker was still a newcomer in WWE, and this match was far from what we would later recognize as the streak. However, it marked the beginning of something special. The match itself wasn't a high-profile bout on the card, but it showcased The Undertaker's dominant persona and brutal finishing move, the Tombstone Piledriver. With a straightforward victory over Snuka, The Undertaker set the stage for his future success. But it was also an important moment in cementing his larger-than-life character. This was the first of many victories that would build the legendary streak. As The Undertaker's career progressed, he became a staple in WWE's roster, and his annual appearances at WrestleMania were met with increasing excitement. What began as a streak of wins would eventually become a storyline all on its own, with fans eagerly anticipating each new challenge that The Undertaker would overcome at WrestleMania. After his victory over Snuka at WrestleMania 7, The Undertaker continued his WrestleMania dominance. His subsequent appearances were often filled with increasingly impressive opponents, adding to the mystique of his character. At WrestleMania 8 in 1992, The Undertaker defeated Jake the Snake Roberts in a match that helped further solidify him as a top-tier performer. The Undertaker's eerie, undead persona was becoming a fixture at WrestleMania, and each year his wins began to feel like more than just a series of victories. They were beginning to build a legend. By WrestleMania 9, The Undertaker's undefeated record was starting to gain more recognition. In his match against Giant Gonzalez, the finish wasn't a traditional one due to a disqualification, but it was a testament to Undertaker's resilience. Despite the less-than-perfect match, The Undertaker's streak stayed intact, and his legacy began to feel more important as WWE fans started to realize they were witnessing something extraordinary. Even when The Undertaker missed WrestleMania 10 due to injury, it didn't slow down the momentum he had started. His return in 1995 saw him continue his streak, this time by defeating King Kong Bundy at WrestleMania 11. The streak was acknowledged by the commentary team, and for the first time it became clear that The Undertaker's undefeated record at WrestleMania wasn't just a coincidence, it was part of a greater story that was unfolding. As The Undertaker's career progressed, so did the significance of his streak. With each passing year, the streak became an event in itself, with fans eagerly awaiting the next chapter. The early 90s were filled with different feuds, but it was at WrestleMania 13 in 1997 that the streak began to feel like a true legacy. In that time, The Undertaker faced Psycho Sid for the WWF Championship, and after a dramatic match, The Undertaker claimed the title for the second time in his career. This victory helped build even more momentum for his ongoing streak. However, it was The Undertaker's feud with his storyline brother Kane at WrestleMania 14 in 1998 that truly began to add layers to the mystique of the streak. With Kane, one of the most imposing characters in WWE history, coming after The Undertaker, it created an emotional storyline that saw both men clash at the biggest stage of them all. This was a moment that fans would never forget. Though Kane kicked out of The Undertaker's tombstone piledriver, the Deadman triumphed in the end, pushing his streak to 6-0. From there, The Undertaker's matches grew more intense and compelling. The streak wasn't just about winning anymore. It was about the high stakes and the larger-than-life competitors he faced. Matches with Shawn Michaels, Triple H, and others cemented The Undertaker's role as a WrestleMania fixture, and every victory added a new layer to his mythos. In 2000, The Undertaker reinvented himself with a new persona, the American Badass, a tough biker with a no-nonsense attitude. This shift brought a new dimension to his character, and it also meant that The Undertaker's annual WrestleMania matches would be different. His first match under the new persona came at WrestleMania 17 in 2001, where he faced Triple H in a brutal encounter that saw The Undertaker use his biker persona to fight dirty and win. The American Badass persona didn't just affect his character, it influenced his in-ring style. The Undertaker was no longer just the eerie Deadman. He was now a brawler who could take and dish out punishment. Over the next few years, he faced several prominent figures, including Ric Flair and Big Show. But it was his match against Ric Flair at WrestleMania 18 in 2002 that was a standout, as it showcased a combination of athleticism and storytelling that kept the streak alive and well. However, the American Badass era had a short run, and by WrestleMania 20, The Undertaker's persona shifted back to the Deadman character. Despite the persona change, the streak continued to thrive, and The Undertaker's ability to adapt while maintaining his undefeated record at the event solidified his place as one of the greatest WrestleMania performers of all time. One of the most significant chapters in the story of The Undertaker's streak came in 2009, when Shawn Michaels, arguably one of the best in-ring performers ever, challenged The Undertaker for his undefeated streak at WrestleMania. The storyline revolved around Michaels being the one man who could defeat the Deadman, and the match delivered in every way possible. The two men created what many fans consider the greatest WrestleMania match of all time, filled with incredible near falls, signature moves, and emotional storytelling. The crowd was fully invested, and The Undertaker's wide-eyed look of desperation when Michaels kicked out of his tombstone piledriver only added to the drama. In the end, The Undertaker secured the victory with a second tombstone piledriver, keeping his streak intact. Their rematch at WrestleMania 26 was just as emotional, with Michaels putting his career on the line to try to end the streak. This time, Michaels was the one to be left broken as The Undertaker delivered another tombstone to end the match, and with it, Michaels' career. These two matches are regarded by many as the pinnacle of the streak, adding layers of meaning and drama to what was already one of the most compelling stories in wrestling history. The streak remained intact for an incredible 21 years, but at WrestleMania 30 in 2014, the unthinkable happened. In a shocking moment that left the WWE Universe stunned, Brock Lesnar, who had been positioned as an unstoppable force himself, defeated The Undertaker in one of the most controversial and unforgettable matches in WrestleMania history. The Undertaker's loss to Lesnar marked the end of the streak, and the emotional impact was felt throughout the arena. Fans were in disbelief as the match ended with The Undertaker lying on the canvas, his undefeated record at WrestleMania shattered. For many, this was a turning point in WWE history. The streak had defined The Undertaker's legacy, and its end would forever be remembered as one of the most shocking moments in the industry. After the match, The Undertaker was legitimately injured and taken to the hospital, adding to the realness of the moment. The decision to end the streak was controversial, with some fans and wrestlers alike questioning whether it was the right choice, but in the end, Brock Lesnar's victory ensured that the streak, while over, would always be a part of WWE's history. After the end of The Undertaker's legendary streak, his relationship with WrestleMania changed, but he remained a prominent figure at the event. The years following his loss to Lesnar would still see The Undertaker compete in some of the most memorable bouts of his career, albeit with the streak no longer intact. At WrestleMania 31, The Undertaker faced Bray Wyatt, whose eerie supernatural persona aligned well with the Deadman's legacy. While The Undertaker was no longer defending his streak, this encounter helped to re-establish him as a dominant force at WrestleMania. After a hard-fought battle, The Undertaker defeated Wyatt, marking his first win post-streak, bringing his record to 22-1. The following year at WrestleMania 32, The Undertaker competed against Shane McMahon in a Hell in a Cell match. This bout was steeped in personal drama, with McMahon challenging The Undertaker to put his WrestleMania legacy on the line. The match also had a huge stipulation. If McMahon won, he would gain control of the WWE. The Undertaker emerged victorious, maintaining his reputation at WrestleMania and securing a key moment in his legacy. At WrestleMania 33, The Undertaker faced Roman Reigns in what became one of the most emotional moments in the career of the Deadman. Reigns, a rising star of WWE, defeated The Undertaker in a no-holds-barred match, and after the victory, The Undertaker had a moment where he symbolically retired his hat, coat, and gloves in the center of the ring. This moment was poignant and left fans questioning whether this was truly the end of The Undertaker at WrestleMania. His match against Reigns marks the end of his WrestleMania run for many, leaving fans to speculate on the final chapter of his legendary career. In WrestleMania 34, The Undertaker made a surprise return to battle John Cena in a quick but intense match. The build-up had been one of the most entertaining storylines of the year, with Cena calling out The Undertaker. The Deadman accepted and defeated Cena in a relatively brief encounter. This match was a return to form for The Undertaker, proving that even after the streak had ended, he could still bring the same intensity and presence to the grand stage. His final match at WrestleMania 36 came against AJ Styles in a unique Boneyard match. This cinematic match was unlike anything the fans had seen before, as it took place in a graveyard and was presented as a short film. Cinematic matches became very popular during the COVID-19 era where fans could not be in attendance. The match, built around The Undertaker's iconic persona, allowed him to use his storytelling skills and larger-than-life presence in a different way. After an intense battle, The Undertaker emerged victorious, cementing his legacy as one of the most innovative and enduring figures in WWE history. It's customary in wrestling for a veteran to lose their final match, symbolizing the passing of the torch to the next generation. However, in The Undertaker's case, WWE chose to give him a rare victorious send-off. This decision could have been influenced by several factors, including his years of loyalty to the company, his vital role as a locker room leader, and his mentorship of multiple generations of wrestlers. Additionally, The Undertaker's long-standing legacy as a fan-favorite character who had been a cornerstone of WWE for over 3 decades made it fitting for him to have a final moment of triumph. His victory in the Boneyard match not only solidified his legendary status, but also gave fans a fitting farewell to the man who had been a part of their lives for so many years. The Undertaker's streak was far more than just a series of wins. It was a saga that defined not only his career, but also the legacy of WrestleMania itself. For 21 years, the Deadman was the embodiment of WrestleMania, a symbol of dominance, mystery, and resilience. Even though the streak was eventually broken, The Undertaker's legacy remains intact, and his name will forever be associated with WrestleMania. Whether you were there to witness the streak unfold, or you're just now discovering its significance, The Undertaker's streak will forever hold a special place in the hearts of wrestling fans everywhere. Even after The Undertaker had his last match, Mark Calaway continues to influence the wrestling landscape. At WrestleMania 40, he had a brief but impactful moment in the spotlight during the main event, reminding fans of his enduring presence. Beyond that, Calaway serves as a coach and mentor to younger talent, helping shape the next generation of WWE superstars who hope to one day make their main roster debut. While Mark Calloway may not have been the face of WWE, like Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, or John Cena, he has undoubtedly been the backbone of the company for decades. His in-ring career may now rest in peace, but his legacy will never die. Hey everyone, Radio Matt here. Thank you for joining us for another Nerd History mini-doc. If you like this, leave a comment and let me know if we should keep doing them and what topics you'd like to see covered. We are currently on the road to WrestleMania, and Love Thy Nerd has put out a whole host of new wrestling content lately, plus a brand new pro wrestling resource list filled with every article, podcast, video, and short. If you'd like to learn more about The Undertaker, John and I did a full Superstar Spotlight episode on the Two Words podcast a few seasons ago that you can check out. And if you want to learn more about WrestleMania, John and I will be doing a special crossover podcast here in 2 weeks, where we will talk about the nerd history of WrestleMania first, and then transition into focusing on this year's WrestleMania event in an epic nerd history 2 words double episode. You can look for that to release on April 16th. Until then, remember, Jesus loves you, nerds.